Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Mr. Ferdman, for inviting us here. We are really very pleased to be sharing a wonderful proposal with you this evening. I wanted to start by introducing Ms. Zalea. She's our parent board member, and she's very active on Eagle Collegiate Academy board. And our board president, he was so much looking forward to being here. He had to go to urgent care late this evening. He wasn't feeling well at all. So I'm praying that, he's okay. But he wanted me to bring greetings because he really wanted to be here, as well as to share with you what we have. So we're just going to briefly give you a little bit highlights about our proposed charter school that we were hoping to have here in Kenyan country. And we will take any questions you have right after that. Thank you for your time. So, Eagle Collegiate Academy, we're proposing it to be a pre-K through 12 college prep school. And, what we want is a place that provides our scholars with whole child education that is founded on excellence. It is founded on authentic audacity. Globalism, was we live in a global world these days, leadership, egalitarian empowerment. That's what we want our scholars to do. And that means that our scholars have to be excellent, they have to be authentically audacious, they have to be global leaders, and they have to be empowered egalitarians. So when they graduate, that's what we're hoping for them to be. Why charter schools? So we wanted to share a little bit with you the legislative intent for charter schools, and I'm sure that most of you probably know that already. However, the purpose of establishing charter schools by both the federal government and the state is to improve people learning and to increase learning opportunities for all peoples, with special emphasis on expanded learning experiences for academically low achieving students, to meet some measurable people outcomes, and to operate under performance-based accountability systems, whereby we have to be held accountable for the students and the scholars that we're working with, and to stimulate continual improvement in all public schools, because when you have a charter school next to a public school and they work collaboratively, then all schools will end up improving, and that's the purpose of legislative intent for all charter schools. What's our mission?
Our mission is to empower the student to become these particular charter school. While talking to parents, as Dr. Olga mentioned, I'm the advocate for the parents, and when I speak to them, they are well aware that with something of this nature of a infrastructure, they'll have a self-confident, independent mind, and egalitarian, authentic lifelong learners and global citizens prepared for 21st centuries. I'm a mother of four, have been moved to here, to Santa Clarita. It was very difficult for me to find a school that I can take my children in one spot. And I had to drive to all the way across town to Cass State to drop off my children, and they had to take back the bus, and it took them 2 hours to get home. So this here, Dr. Ogle came to the community, and it just brought to my attention that this is something that I would love to have here in this area. And that could give me the opportunity to take my children in one place versus driving them around town just to drop them home and drop them to school. So it was very, the vision here was that the college will have rigorous college preparatory, which it will emphasis international bachelorette program. I come from a background where school education is very important. And coming to this country, one of the emphasis that I actually made when I came here when I was 9, is to go to school and to prepare myself and educate myself. And I think that's how I'm bringing my children to be. And this is bringing me some, options as a parent to take my child something in instruction like this, which will have the curriculum that my children are looking forward to, and prepare them for college, because that is what I emphasize in their life, is that they are also able to go to college. And I believe the vision here in this school, the Collegiate School, is that they will prepare my children for college. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Ogo.
You did a great job. And so our vision is to have rigorous college prep emphasis, just like Rita mentioned. And we also are going to have international baccalaureate programs. In our audience is Linda Stander. Linda, who is affiliated with the IB, California IB organization right here. And she has been very supportive. And she's one of the consultants, in addition to the IB coordinator for California, that we're working with to make sure that our students would have rigorous IB program to use. So thank you, Linda, for coming tonight. Also, we would like to have teacher common planning time so that teachers have enough time. What we're proposing as we get to the needs, which I'm going to get to in a few minutes, is a pre-K through 12 vertical articulation school. And it's very critical that teachers have time to plan together. And so one of our emphases is to ensure that teachers have common planning time so that they'll be able to plan the curriculum that the students will learn, starting from pre-K all the way to 12th grade. You know, as someone in education at the high school level, we have the saying that middle school teachers send us students that are not ready. And then the middle school teachers say, well, elementary teachers send us students that are not ready. So in this school, we're going to work together and ensure that there is a vertical articulation whereby the teachers at all levels know what to expect. And they prepare students so that no one would come to any level not being ready. So that's part of the goal for this. So why do we need CCA? In Kenyan country, it will be the first and only charter school right here. All the other charter schools in our area, and I've lived here for almost 17 years, are all on the other side of town. And that's okay. That's okay. But just like Rita mentioned, it would be great to have parents, and there are a lot of parents who would like to have that option also on this side of town. And so it will be the only charter school to start with, and it will be also the first pre-K-12 vertical articulation school in Santa Clarita. We're proposing small class sizes. So all our classes from K through 6 would not have any more than 20 students. Then from 7 through 12, 25 students. So that there will be that personalization and time for students to work closely with their teachers in order to gain the academic achievement that we would like them to have. And then we want college prep for all. And really, in this process, I've been approached by people who say, well, every child doesn't have to go to college. That may be true, but every child deserves the right and the access to having the skills so that should they decide to go to college, then they're able to go. So that they're prepared, that they're ready to go to college should they go to college, should they decide to go to college. So our goal is to prepare students to be college and career ready. If they graduate high school and they don't want to go to college right away, that's fine. But if they do decide to go, then they have the skills to be able to go. And so college prep should not just if we can afford it. I know also being in the field of education that a child whose parents can afford to provide college prep for them to take ACT and ACT and all the other classes definitely has the leg up. They're going to be able to do well. So our goal is to be able to provide some of those preparatory classes for our students, regardless of whether they can afford it or not. Like we said earlier, we're going to be a proposed international baccalaureate school, and that will be the only one also in this area. starting from primary years. So there'll be a primary year program, a middle year program. Of course, the diploma program is already out in the high schools, but we will start from the primary school up to the middle school. Again, in that whole vertical articulation process that we would have. So that by the time they get to high school to do the diploma program, they would already be ready to take all those tests. Our school structure would be that our elementary school or our lower school will be pre-K through 6th grade. Then the middle school is 6 through 8, and high school is 9 through 12. One of the things we want to provide is resilience training. And why resilience training? We live in a world where things are constantly changing. Our children need to be able to survive, need to be able to move along with the changes that come along without feeling overwhelmed. And so resilience training is something that Christian Moore has been doing for a while for alternative schools. But now it has branched out into traditional schools where students are trained how to be resilient and teachers as well are trained on how to be resilient so that they will be successful and be able to overcome any obstacles that they face. And then we plan to offer Korean as well as Spanish. As we were going around having community meetings, we realized that Korean is one of the things that students would like to learn, and so that's one of the languages that we're offering. So why else is this needed? As you heard earlier, the legislative intent of charter schools is to improve people learning and ultimately improve all the schools all around. And so our goal really is to support the school district. We are not there to compete in a negative way. We are not there to say that they're not doing a good job. We are certainly not saying that. Most of our board members have many years of experience in traditional public schools. So we value and respect the work that they do because we've done it. So, but we're saying that we have parents who would like that option of having a charter school that they can take their children to, so that they would also have their children learn in an environment that they prefer. And that's just what our goal is. We would have a community liaison that will be out there in the community working with parents and community members to ensure that they understand what we're doing. We really want active, and we have had that, Rita will tell you, active parental participation and communication in drafting our policy and in making decisions that we do. So that community liaison is very critical. It's one of the positions that we budgeted for, so that they are out there working with our community and making sure that they know what we're doing and that they have input, that everybody has a voice in this school. We want to support parents who have students in 2 or more grade bands with one drop-off and pickup. I know as an administrator who worked out of the area, I had to leave very early to go to work. I was lucky I could afford to hire a nanny that can come early in the morning to take my children to school so that I can leave early to go to work. Well, not everybody has that option. And so one of the things that we're going to provide for parents who may have students in more than one school, so that they go to one place and drop off their children and not have to worry. I know there are some days, and I told this story about how I cried before I started to hire a nanny. I left my young children in front of the school before the school started so that I can go to work. And as I was driving, I was crying all the way to work. I'm like, what am I doing? I mean, what am I doing? And so part of this is also based on some of our own collective experiences as to what is good for students as well as what is good for families. And so in this particular situation, parents who have students in maybe a middle school or a high school or elementary and middle school can take their children to one site, drop them off early because we want to provide before and after school opportunities there and after school enrichment, and know that they are still receiving quality education and in a safe environment. And there's been talk, and I'm going to share that, about how would this impact the local public schools? Would I take away teachers? Would I take away students? Would it, what's the impact? And really, there's not going to be a negative impact because the teachers that we have who signed up to work for these schools are not employed by any of the districts around here. That's one. So really, it's a win-win for kids. And if we focus our attention on students, who really are the ones that are the reason why schools exist. All of us, those of us who work in the field of education, would not have a job if the students were not there. So it's really about them. And so it's a win-win for them. We're proposing to start with a little small number of students. And our students come from all over SCV, from San Fernando. We have people who signed up to come from there. Some of them are homeschooled. So when we look at the number of students who may come from some of the local schools, they really don't translate to something that would lead to loss of teachers and loss of, that many students from the school district. So we feel that we really don't have a negative impact. In fact, we feel that we have a positive impact because if we use the low student-teacher ratio that we're proposing, and if a few students, of the students that would come, because it's, a charter school is open to everyone, so anyone can come. But that would translate also to low student-teacher ratio, small class sizes for the public schools as well, traditional public schools, the charter schools are public schools. And so that's a win-win. And it's a win-win for the students because they will have smaller classes and teachers who will pay closer attention to them. And so our goal really is to try to see, I like Bishop already. They're always advertising in our magazines. Why? Because we have people who live in this valley. I have friends and some colleagues whose children go to school over there. There's nothing wrong with that. It's all about choice. But maybe if they had that choice here, then they wouldn't have to go. So again, our goal is to see if we can, through this process, also bring home community members who are going away to San Fernando to go to school, as well as bring more jobs and not take away jobs. We're not trying to take away jobs at all. So when we look at other employees of school district people around here, also the same thing applies. We really, again, don't feel that there is any negative impact of any kind on them because we are direct funded, or would be direct funded, and we're non-profit public benefit corporations. So we really are autonomous from whatever school district that we're going to work with, and we take full responsibility for our finances. The petition requires you to actually specify that. And so if you have any financial issues, you take ownership for it and not the school district. And we're not seeking to have Proposition 39 whereby we co-locate in any of the school district facilities. So we're not going to negatively impact them or their custodians and plant workers. We're seeking to we're budgeting enough funds to have our own facility that will support our program. And then as we grow, our programs will grow as well.
Prairie Community with ECA works for parents. It will be a pre-K to 12, and what students will learn will be once to drop off, and there will be one-stop drop-off or pick-up before and after school, as Dr. Alvo just explained. Enrichment activities after school. And then number 2, YECA works for the community, first and only center in Canyon Country, as stated before. Special education provision. This was very important for me. I work with the special education community, and it was very important for me to make sure that these children with special needs are going to be taken care of. I run into many meetings in the districts where I go and advocate for parents to receive their services for their children, and I see progress. when the children are receiving the proper education or the proper tools for them to live a quality of life. For me, it's very important that, being a mother also with a special need child, and I can see his improvement and giving him the opportunity to attend and to be a good citizen as working and having a job. And this was very important for me, and when I met Dr. Gogo, that was the first thing I asked, because it's important. We need that support and individualized activities for them, and also curriculums for them to be able to have a quality of life. That was very important for me. Community meetings, and I think not for me, but many other parents that are in the same, looking for a school that can provide assistance to a special education child. And I was very impressed of when Dr. Golga said that we were going to not only need to think about the education part of it, but also the life skills. We have children out there with very low life skills and not prepared, not really prepared with life skill or behavioral intervention. Their behavior can be an obstacle to even getting a job out there. So it's something that I can see an outstanding. I think that's going to be something that I myself will be making sure that that's going to be that will be provided by ECA.
And this is just something we can run through. And we're saying that the proposal that we have, it really meets all the 8 code requirements based on the way, based on the program that we want to provide. So, it meets the needs and intents for charter schools. The petitioners are demonstrably likely to be able to implement it because of their wealth of experience. And then we had 14 teachers who already signed up. We've had, and we've had, in order to show support, about 283 signatures, and we're still collecting. By now, I think it's more than that, from parents who really are quite interested in being part of this. And so you are going to see in a few minutes the parents. This is a flyer that I think Linda handed out. Just gives you a little bit idea of everything that we talked about. And then you're going to see some of the parents that, are very interested in having this. And so these are just a few photos of these parents and community members who would like their children to be involved in Eagle Collegiate Academy. And we have a video actually of 2 families that look and would like to show their support and also to show that their interest in being part of this school. So that's the video. One of the things about charter schools, unlike traditional public schools, that they don't build the school from scratch. Sometimes you get lucky and they could. So we have found some facilities on Sierra Highway as well as on Soldier Canyon, viable facilities. But talking to the owners and working with them, we let them know we are proposing this. Once approved and authorized, then you know for sure that you would have your rental paid. So we're at the point where it's like a catch-22. You have to have an authorized petition, and then you have the facility. But we do have some viable facilities, and we've talked to some people. Actually, the board president and I went to City Hall and met with city planners about one of all the areas that we were thinking about, so that they can give us an idea about whether it is viable for a school. And so Soldier Canyon, Sierra Highway, those are the 2 places that we have right now.